Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you and supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental, and by Craig International, a truly global company with 10 bases around the world. The future of global procurement is here. Barry Robson has now gone, and as the search for a new manager continues, it's business as usual on the field of play. Next up for the Dons, it's the league leaders Celtic. Kick-off at Pittodrie is at 12:30 UK time. To put the game into context, and we all know it's going to be a very difficult game. We currently sit in 8th position. Any sort of win, depending on results elsewhere, will move us up the table by just one position. But as we said earlier this week, we sit closer to the bottom than we do to the top. 17 league games left. Hi everybody, how are you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV on YouTube. This is Countdown to Kickoff. So this is a pre-recorded show, and the idea behind this show is to basically preview Saturday's game against Celtic at Pittodrie. So it's been a hell of a week, hasn't it? So the transfer window shut yesterday. I wasn't overly surprised that we didn't do much business, if any at all. Yes, we brought in Killian, but I have to be honest, I wasn't expecting much movement, even though it was crying out for a certain type of player to help strengthen our squad. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything over the line. But I think what was more pressing was the fact that Bojan Miovski, Duke and Connor Barron remain Aberdeen players. So from what we understand and from alleged reports, there were bids made for both Duke and Connor Barron, which were both knocked back by the football club. So they remain Aberdeen players. The only thing I would say about the Connor Barron situation is that obviously he is out of contract in the next 5 to 6 months. And I hope that we don't lose him for nothing. Yes, there'll be a development fee, but I hope with the money that was allegedly offered that we don't lose Connor for free. If you're going to put a gun to my head, I would hope that Connor actually stays. I've seen enough evidence so far this season that he's getting back to the type of form that he had before he got injured, and obviously before all the speculation started about his future. So I still think Connor has a big part to play in Aberdeen's future. So tomorrow, Peter Leven and Scott Anderson will take charge of the team. I've picked out a few quotes from Peter's press conference earlier today when he spoke to the press after training. So we'll have a little look at that a little bit later. We'll do all the housekeeping as normal in the build-up to the Celtic game. And as normal, I've asked you to leave your comments on social media in regards to your thoughts about the transfer window, the new manager, and obviously looking ahead to the Celtic game as well. So I will dedicate a big chunk of today's show to your thoughts and your comments. So thank you so much for leaving them on my social media pages. Okay, so the first thing that I want to take care of is I just want to very quickly thank a gentleman called David Swinton, who has signed up to the Ali Beg ABTV membership scheme here on YouTube. So David has made a small financial commitment to the channel, which helps me massively. So David, thank you so much. I'm very grateful. I will get in touch so that we can have a wee natter in the coming days. So thank you so much for your support. Right, I'm going to try and predict the team tomorrow. It was interesting that Peter said that he's got his own ideas that him and Scott want to implement. So I'm going to try and guess the team. I could be completely wrong. I probably am completely wrong, but this is roughly what I think will happen. So I think Peter's going to be bold. So I think you'll play 4 at the back. Jack, Richard. Now it'll either be Angus or Stefan, because Stefan is fit and ready to go. So I think it could be a toss-up between those two, and then Nicky obviously at right back. Then I'm starting to wonder if he'll play Shinnie the captain, in this holding midfield role just in front of the back four to allow Connor, Leighton, Dante, and Jamie to have the freedom to dictate play in the centre of the pitch. And I just think that Bojan will play up top on his own. Now, you can have your own thoughts on this. He might go 2 up top, but I've just got a feeling that he'll want to patrol the midfield because I think that's where the game could be won and lost tomorrow, because we need to absolutely not allow Celtic to dictate play. We've seen it time and time and time again where they come to Pittodrie and just on the front foot and dictate play. I've got the match stats for you, which I'll bring to you in just a moment. And honestly, they do not make for good reading at all. Right, so while I'm at it, just let me very quickly clear the timeline to make room for everything else that I want to show you. So there's Peter. So we've got his quotes coming in. The match stats, let me chuck those in as well. Got some other bits and pieces for you. And I think the last thing to go in is that. Perfect. Okay, there we go. So, as I said, I've put together some of Peter's quotes. So here they are from his presser. It's been a difficult couple of days, he said. We have to be positive and get the boys up and at it for the game on Saturday. I am taking it day by day, game by game, and making sure the boys are ready. That is the most important thing. I have some ideas along with Scott Anderson. We have a plan for tomorrow and hopefully we can implement that and we will try and get a result tomorrow. It was also interesting that he was asked about his own future and if he would like to think that if he does well, the job could become his. And he very diplomatically answered the question and just basically said, look, he's just here at the moment just to prepare the team for Saturday and then obviously for the Rangers game as well. So there's been a lot of talk about potentially who will be see my kids about potentially who will be the new Aberdeen manager. So a gentleman got in touch with me, Christopher Piper got in touch with me earlier today and put together a list of some really interesting names which I would like to share with you. Okay, so Gary Rowett, who's 49, 12 years experience in England, likes to play a 4-2-3-1 and is a solid manager, but nothing exciting. Diego Martinez is 43 years old, 10 years experience across Europe. He was assisted under Unai Emery before taking his own managerial position. He likes to play a 4-2-3-1 formation. Alex Neil, who we all know about. Steve Cooper, who I've been championing now for the past few days. Sven Malin, who's 45, 8 years experience in Scandinavia. Definitely a gamble, Christopher says, but he's got a decent win rate. Could be something completely different for us. Prefers a 4-3-3 system. Chris Hughton, we all know about Chris Hughton. Darren Moore, who's just been sacked as Huddersfield coach. And a little one that came out of left field by Christopher, which I thought was quite interesting. Frank de Boer, who's now 53 years old, who's obviously had huge experience across not just America, but in Europe as well, and has got that Atlanta United link. A few names. One that stuck out for me was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I can't help but think that his wage demands would be way out of our budget, which I also think could be the issue with Steve Cooper as well. So let me address the Neil Lennon situation. So there's been today I've had at least a dozen messages from people who are saying reliable sources are telling me that Neil has been approached and there could be an announcement as soon as after the Rangers game. So I spoke to Neil's agent today and I can tell you that there's been no approach for Neil Lennon to become the new Aberdeen manager, even the interim manager. From what I understand, Neil has very much got his sights set on becoming the new Ireland manager. So there is no official approach for Neil Lennon as yet. So that's what I've been told. Okay, let's continue with some of the housekeeping. So let's give you the match stats. Okay, hang on to your hats here. Aberdeen have lost each of their last 9 league meetings with Celtic, while they've never previously lost 10 in a row against the Glasgow side. Celtic have won 12 of their last 14 league visits to Pittodrie since a 2-1 defeat in February 2016. Aberdeen have only won 1 of their last 5 league games, which was the 3-0 victory at Ross County in the first match of the new year. The man in the middle is Steve McLean, and the man on VAR is Steve Kirkland. If you can't make it to Pittodrie tomorrow, here is the front cover of the Red Matchday magazine, designed by Dolly Digital. Nikki Devlin sporting the front cover, and it's looking as fantastic as always. If you are going to the game, here's the weather forecast. They're expecting it to be 8 degrees come kickoff, the low 6, the high 8. They're expecting gusty winds tomorrow, which could get up to 24 miles an hour. So, yeah, keep yourselves nice and warm and wrap up as always. Right, let's now save the rest of the show for you guys. I'm going to start with Twitter, because a few comments came in on Twitter. There we go. Let me bring that up. There we are. Okay. Fraser Gunn has said, "Hi Fraser, hope you're well." He said, "What a mess. Waiting so late to release Barry and lack of any spark in terms of new signings could potentially be grim for us, in my opinion. Questions definitely need to be asked internally." Craig Suter has said, "Given our transfer window, might as well call it the Why Do We Even Bother preview show." Yeah, okay, let me get on to Facebook, because lots of comments came in on Facebook. Right, Alex Wallace said, "Be interesting to see if someone with a different mindset can make better use of the talented pool of players we think we have. Will the attitude of some of them change now that Barry has gone? We will see Duke back with Majowski." Matthew Cool has said, "Just not sure what to expect. Hopefully we are competitive with a back four." You see, again, this is the argument, isn't it? From, I don't speak for any Aberdeen fan, I only speak for myself, but I would harbour a guess that most Aberdeen fans tomorrow, all we're expecting is for them to at least have a go at Celtic, because too many times we just don't. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute we lie down to them, but we're just not competitive enough against them. And it's like too much respect, a little bit of fear, maybe the occasion takes over, I don't know. But I just hope tomorrow that we are seriously competitive and we give them a game. Derek Beattie has said 23 games against Celtic without a win. The last win at Celtic at Pittodrie was 8 years ago. I'm an eternal optimistic, though. Obviously, I'm taking a Dons 2-0 win. Let's just get behind Peter Leven and the lads. In terms of a replacement for Barry, Neil Warnock would be box office, but hard to get 100% behind that potential appointment. As a nice guy and experienced as coach as Neil is, it's not long-term thinking. Alex Neil may be the right man at this moment in time. Alex McDonald has said, "I'm not expecting much against Celtic, but as long as they put in a good shift, you never know. Surely it can't be any worse than the fare that was being dished out by Robson's stubbornness and ineptness. One upside, we don't have to listen to Barry's post-match interviews. I don't like to see anyone lose their job, but he definitely was the architect of his own downfall." Gordon Ritchie has said, "Tomorrow's game won't be easy, but nothing to lose, and how many times a team sack their manager and next game they play better. Win as all have points to prove at the end of the day. It's 11 against 11. Again, a sentence that I use many, many times. At the end of the day, it's 11 against 11. And it's how you play against your immediate opponent that will eventually dictate how you perform yourself and how you perform for your team. Duncan Shand has said, "We have turned into Hibs with a number of managers we have gone through. I can see what might have been a plan of young, hungry new managers, but that's failed. And we do need an established manager who has more than plan A negative play that doesn't work. Colin Stewart has said, took my first Aberdeen hospitality for my son's 21st birthday, thinking at the start of the season we might be competitive against Celtic, but he finishes by saying, well, at least the beer was free. Donkey Wright has said, this game tomorrow is a free hit. To be honest, no one is expecting anything out of the game tomorrow. Just go out there, lads, and do yourselves proud. GW Findlater has said, I hope the club would have someone temporarily in charge or have a plan for this eventuality, as it was clear Barry was under pressure for some time. Sadly, looks like this is not the case. Will be another Celtic loss, and Tuesday could be painful. Also, keeping Barron is only good if we actually keep him beyond the summer. All smelling slightly that the banner was true. The blind is truly leading us. Graham Watson is on. Hi, Graham. No surprise there were no signings. Any person coming in may not like them, and we've had that already this season. 2 free hits in a way as nobody's expecting us to get anything, but that is when the team has surprised us. So may play better with no pressure. Murray Wright has said, I fear a cricket score tomorrow. Hope I'm wrong. Disappointing transfer window, but then again, signing players with no manager was wishful thinking. The board are solely to blame for the state that we are in. Get this appointment wrong, and it's they that will be gone. Big pressure on the board to get this one absolutely right. Ian Buchan has said, we are a rudderless ship at present, so no surprises the window was quiet. Hark back to the European games and how we played, so we know the players we have can play. Just need someone to get us back to playing that way. Come on, you Reds. Darwin Klopp has said, question for the show. What's the board going to do differently for the next appointment? 4 managers in 4 years doesn't give anyone reassurances that the club is heading in the right direction. So what are they going to do this time? We can't have interim appointments. That is not good for the club. David Scott. Hi, David. Anything from the game tomorrow would be a bonus. Celtic are weak at the back, especially at the left back area. If we're clever, we can exploit it. Ross County created a fair few chances, so we can as well. It's just about taking the game to them. Come on, you Reds. Gavin Bush has said, I dread to think what the score will be tomorrow. We are leaderless, rudderless, and above all, clueless. A lot of you are talking about, Stephen Gunn in his position, talking about bringing in someone like Alex McLeish. Gavin Bush finishes by saying this squad should be nowhere near the bottom half of the table, yet here we are. Had we been run poorly when we needed... Had we been run this poorly when we needed unfit stadia and a relegation playoff, I dread to think where this amazing club could be now. Martin Smith has said, will be really interesting to see the shape set up and who gets what roles. I sincerely hope we go with 4 at the back and play Clarkson further forward and have Barron in supporting Shinnie, both playing in front of the back 4. But the main issue is that Robson should have gone after the cup final. The final was the final straw for me. Poor setup for a final, and then the presser after showed he wasn't the right man. Too many strange subs wedded to a system that never held firm and couldn't see we need width and pace to pass through a congested midfield. Hoofball doesn't work. Scott Bowie has said, bit disappointed and disillusioned at the moment with the football club. Feel the lack of transfer activity is down to not having faith in Barry, and with the sacking so late in the window, couldn't get anything done. Not looking forward to the Celtic game, he says. John Bethel has said, delighted that Miovski, Duke and Barron are still here, but disappointed overall by the transfer window. Lack of a Rama replacement and wingers is shocking stuff. Hoping by the time the show airs, we'll know who will be in the dugout tomorrow. And we do. Keith Mackey has said, the game is pretty irrelevant to be fair. We'll be lucky to take anything from it, and getting a quality manager is the priority at the moment. Desperately disappointing transfer window for us though, and surely Stephen Gunn's position is untenable. Johnny Wilson, he makes a good point. So much talk about getting a manager who knows the Scottish game. The Scottish game is a two-horse laughing stock, not a proper competition. Need a manager with no fear or respect for both Celtic or Rangers to put an end to our coin toss Premier League. I completely agree. Mark Smith has said that he likes the Steve Cooper option that I mentioned, but can't help but think that 500 grand that was allegedly put in for Conor Barron could have paid for some of that, at least some of the cost to bring in Steve Cooper. George Barber has said, so much doom and gloom around the club just now. The board needs to inject some positivity and do it quickly. 3 points against Celtic on Saturday would help. Wouldn't it just? Dearie me. Yeah, a lot of you are talking about, injury issues. If we lose players like Stefan Garteman again, Ruby's going to be out for 10 to 12 weeks, that we don't have enough strength and depth in the squad. An interesting point from Charlie Craig. If the Football Monitoring Board, if still in place, has not been working to replace Barry Robson, it's shameful. I now feel my support is being taken for granted. I am concerned about what the players' attitude will be after recent poor results with no leaders on the park. It's a very interesting point, Charlie. Gavin Goodbrand has said, the season is about survival. Our rivals all strengthened. We need to try and get into the top six, but we could easily be 10th or 11th after the Old Firm games. We need to get the correct manager in. But he says, unfortunately, the good choices, Cooper, Potter, Knutson, will not come to us. The rest are the usual tested suspects that don't really encourage you. Warnock is past it, and football is even more negative. Neil Lennon, too much history. So I would rule these guys out. Not a top choice, as that would be one of three. I think it's unattainable at the moment, but Alex Neil would get it from me. But we need someone who is not scared of the Old Firm. John Moore has said, not entirely surprised we didn't sign anyone last night. We have options within, and we might be looking at another large overhaul by a new manager. Worried for the next two games if we crumble, though. Neither Celtic or Rangers have been free-flowing this season, but look at us of late, hoping the players are going to turn up and fight for the team and the badge. Come on, you Reds, he says. Darren Klopp is back to say, not much to say here, but let's hope the boys stick in, do their best and get something out of tomorrow and we don't get a hammering. Stand free, we will be back, have no worries, he says. Glad to see positivity coming from you, Darwin. And one last final comment from Mark Aiken. Honestly can't believe some fans going on about a relegation battle. We are not great, but have you seen the rest of the league? The standard is woeful. Livingston will not even reach our current points total. Right, guys. So we are done. We've done nearly 25 minutes. So, look, the very best of luck to the lads on Saturday. It is a free hit. You've got nothing to lose. We do need to bounce back from recent disappointments. I just hope that Peter and Scott set us up properly. I'm absolutely sure that they will. The very best of luck to the two of them, because it's a very difficult situation that they've been thrown into to just prepare for such huge games within the space of 48 hours and 24 hours within Barry getting sacked, give or take. So I absolutely applaud them for getting the team ready and prepared for tomorrow's game. So look, just be competitive. That's all we're asking as fans. That's all we can ask. Be competitive and absolutely give 100%. And you just never know where it will take you. So guys, thank you so much for watching. My aim for the review show is for Sunday evening. And I'll probably do a live show on Sunday evening, depending how the day goes. So just keep an eye on my social media for information about when the show will air and whether it's live or whether it's pre-recorded. So if you're going to the game tomorrow, safe travels, enjoy. If you're not going to the game tomorrow, have a fantastic weekend. I'll be at the beginning of the big Saturday football show, just to wrap up what's going on at Pittodrie on North Sound 1. So if you're wanting some up-to-date reports from the game, the last 15-20 minutes, I'll be on the Big Saturday Football Show on North Sound 1 just after 2 o'clock. Right, guys, take care. Stand free.